the tide's out, it's unreal.
Yeah, but you're a bit like,
What, Welsh?
the best beach in the world in Wales.
I'm telling you.
I don't want to be like,
Can I just say, right, when the top 10 beach, honestly now, there are loads and loads of polls, when they put the top 10 beaches in the world and this, that and the other, right? There's one from the Gower. The only problem is the weather, okay? But they are incredible.
the weather, the temperature of the water.
Yeah, it's effing freezing. You go in and you know those things.
Probably.
You know those things. He was going testes 1, 2, 3. The water's that cold. They're up here. Here we go. Here's cameraman.
I went to Cornwall in 2003. Rain, all.
Cornwall's pretty cool.
Came back later.
Perranporth is gorgeous. Perranporth is gorgeous. Did you?
Like that.
Are we live now or what? You just messing about now, aren't you? He's just messing.
From the heart of Bootle, films inside the Big Onion at Bootle Strand, the podcast about people, place and the stories shaping our community. Join your hosts, Chris, Lizzie and Tim, as they sit down with local voices and inspiring guests. This is Big Onion Radio.
Hi everyone, welcome to Big Onion Radio Live, kind of from Bootle Strand in the Big Onion in Merseyside Expanding Horizons. And we have got a special guest, Nando, from the Big Onion next door. We're going to talk to Nando in a minute. Chris and Lizzie, how are you?
Pretty good, to be fair. I'm all right, how are you?
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Another week older, okay? But big news this week, really big news this week. You know, I got my concession travel card because I'm 60.
Yeah.
I've used it twice in the last week. Oh, the feeling is so good when you walk through that barrier. Oh my goodness, I can't describe it. You must be so jealous, you lot. You must be so jealous.
And if I'm not careful, I'll rile a lot of people. You've got money, give me the discount.
Money? What money have I? What money I got? And you know, even better. I had a meeting in Liverpool, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, and obviously you can't use the concession until 9:30. Oh. I got on the 9:18 and got all the way to Liverpool without paying. What a victory. I'm sorry, Mr. Rotherham, but it was a great feeling.
Well, didn't Robert Jenner challenge people who didn't pay down in London?
Who? Don't know who he is.
Yeah, I don't know who he is either, but yeah, these are the kind of people who bend the rules. Right, we are about people in place. And we've also got fantastic support by the National Lottery Community Fund. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Nick, come through. This is going to go in bloopers.
Oh, she's waiting for a coffee.
Oh, you're waiting for your coffee? Right, let's get to Nando.
Terry will bring it in, she can be in as well.
Get this in.
I know he's going to make a comment on me outfit in a minute.
Okay.
You look very well.
She looks great. I did say to her today, right, there is a Star Wars convention in
Star Wars or something to do with Karen.
You look like Princess Leia.
I think she looks
Go forth and prosper. Go forth and
You look like Princess Leia.
There you go.
There you go. Anyway,
There you go.
come back to it.
fashion down in Bootle.
BootleFashion.com.
Where you go?
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway.
Bootle is the place to be. And speaking of the place to be, the Big Onion next door, we've got Nando.
We are live, you know,
There you go,
Nicola.
we are live. Right, let's get to Nando. Nando, thanks for coming on. Do you want to introduce
Thanks for having
yourself
me.
and tell us about your business?
So my name is Nando. I was born in Lisbon in Portugal, came to Liverpool 13 years ago. And about my business, sometimes I think it meant to be. When those things happen in your life that make you believe that there was like something written before. When I was about 14 to 15 years old, back in the day, obviously we didn't have internet. So that was the papers. So I bought a guitar really cheap for about, I don't remember, I'm not gonna say because I don't remember, but it was really cheap. And I thought, you know what, this guitar only needs like a clean, new strings, and maybe I can make some money with it. So I remember the paper used to come out on Thursdays. There was a section for musical instruments. Found the guitar, called the guy from the landline phone, and met with him somewhere, ended up buying the guitar, clean it up. My mom wasn't very happy about it. Clean it up, and next week, put it on the next paper, and sold, double my money. Then my mom was happy about it. So, and funny enough, end up doing this job, which is mainly what I do, apart from the repairs and fixing guitars. A big part of my business is to buy used guitars, bring them back to life, and get them a new owner so they can be played. Another funny thing, the very first day I came to Liverpool, I rented a room here in Bootle, and I couldn't sleep. I was really excited. Something new was starting, and about 5, 6 a.m., I'll start getting ready, just gonna go out and gonna explore. The very first place I went in was Bootle Strand. I was so early that I was outside on that door that is not used anymore, and I had to wait to open. And when he opened, I came in. I thought it was really cool. And all these years after, I end up here in the same place. I was always really scared of taking the step of having my own business. I was scared of the bills, of the tax, of whatever you have to do, insurance. I wasn't aware of what I needed. During the COVID time, I came to have a talk with the job center, trying to see if they could help me out, if there was any help they could provide for me, because I just lost my job. So I could, you know, when you lost everything, you can't go any deeper, can you? You're already on the bottom. So on that same day, unfortunately, they couldn't help me. And on my way out, I saw the Big Onion, the old Big Onion downstairs. And I walked in, and I wasn't about to speak with anybody. I was a bit shy to go and speak, but Chris just approached me and explained me a bit what the Big Onion was. And I think because he was so welcoming, he gave me the confidence to explain the situation. It was really, really easy and really, really fast. In about a week time, I was putting all my things to open my unit, and I started the business.
Do you know what? He has that effect on you when you first meet him, doesn't he? Because he did that.
He only came in for a cup of tea.
So what's the name of your business then?
It's Nando's Guitars.
And we're going to share all the details. Because you
Okay.
do guitar lessons as well as guitar
Yes, we
repairs,
do.
and people can buy guitars.
Yes,
from
we
you, is that
do.
right?
Yes, we do. Obviously, when you start a new business, you're always scared. The start downstairs obviously was good, and I'm really grateful. But eventually, I find out that's not many people, especially repairing guitars, and it's not many people selling pre-loved guitars. I always thought I saw during the COVID time, in whoever plays music and is from Liverpool, they will know that we lost a few of the big companies in Liverpool that used to sell guitars. Due to, I think we have this, it's a bit like peculiar to the business and specific, but these days there's online shops, someone's in the country and some of them abroad. And because they don't have a physical shop and they buy crazy amount of guitars, they are able to get prices that the normal physical shops can't have. And they have to pay for people that is outside, for the shop, for all the bills. So I thought to myself, new is not a business for myself, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. These big companies are breaking up. Why will I succeed? So I went on Just Use because I didn't see many competitors, only Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree, but they don't provide a warranty. They don't sell the guitars with a minimum of quality and up to a standard that anyone can play them. So when we start downstairs, start really fast and the things start getting better and better. A few other local shops approached me to do the repairs because they didn't have nobody to do the repairs as well. There's not many people doing that anymore. And was already good, and I was already being able to make a living just from being downstairs. Unfortunately, as Chris knows, downstairs was the first place they got, and there was not many shops around. But then Chris will be able to explain that better, but we were able to move upstairs to the main place of the Strand, and since we came upstairs, went even bigger and even better for myself, and I'm really happy with it.
Brilliant. And you do really love your job, don't you?
Oh, I really do. I really do. All my customers who play music, being able to speak, people who play music every day, from people who play it as a hobby, from people who does it professionally, and end up getting like a friendship with the most of them and a relationship that I didn't thought will happen. But I think people who play guitar, they have this weird love for their instruments that I can only make I think cars are a bit similar. Some people get this love for their car. It's not a person, it's a thing, but you really love your car. And I think the guitars is the same. And like the cars, you don't go to anybody and leave your car. Normally, if you don't have a mechanic, you'll ask your close friends and say, do you have anyone that I can trust? Because you really love your car or you love your guitar. So it took me a while to build my customers, because obviously there's that trust thing, but one starts recommending the other and the other recommending the other. And now I'm at a very good point, really happy with it.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
And what is it about the Big Onion then, do you think, that's helped you? Because you said that the physical space. What does the Big Onion offer you?
So the best thing about the Big Onion for me, like I said in the beginning, I was scared of all the bills, because you go, okay, and it's the rent. You know how much the rent is. How much is the electricity? You don't know. It depends on how much you spend. Liability insurance, all these things. You go like into the unknown, because you look, I know the rent, but how much actually do I gonna pay? You don't know. And the Big Onion offered me that, because we only pay a rent and that's it. We know what to count every month.
So do you like incubate the business and say, this is the fixed rate?
That's it. Plus, help with everything we need. I needed help to register my business. Chris been there for me to help me about the best way to do my tax, some things that I didn't know. When you're new to this, you're always scared, because you hear about fines, you're scared of these things. And having someone that you can count, that is there to help you, that you have a fixed bill that you pay for your rent, and you know exactly how much, what to count, because as a small business, every little bit counts. And for you to know exactly how much you'll pay, that's priceless. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I think a big part, and Nando's typical, right, of the people that we see coming in to the Big Onion, right, who've got an idea. You know, Nando said there that this all started years ago, buying an old battered guitar in a magazine and doing something. So it was a hobby, it was something, you know, and then you move on, don't you, and you take a job and you take on responsibilities. But in the background is this desire, because I know you play in a band as well, which we'll touch on in a minute, no doubt. But there's this desire to do something. And I think all we try to do is try and take away some of those anxieties, right? You know, it is a big step. It's not for everybody, but Nando, you know, is entrepreneurial, right? And it's just supporting that mindset and showing, like we've done with so many, right? Showing that there is a way to sort of turn that hobby of yours into a viable business, okay? And you know, it's been great to see Nando's business grow and develop. And I think only last week you were moving stuff around, you were creating more shelving space to hang guitars and things like that, because the thing is progressing, it's growing, right? And that's exactly, you know, the goal. I worry in not just this borough, but boroughs across the city region and beyond. You know, there's this view of what businesses we should be looking to open up and create. And look, we need, as I've said many times before, we need butchers, we need bakers, we need candlestick makers, okay? And in Nando's case, we need people who can fix guitars and whatnot. I think the other thing, the difference with the Big Onion, very much for me, is that sense of community as well. And there's the community of traders and businesses that operate in and out of the space, but also as well, those customers that you've got now, there's relationships being formed with them, there's a community there. And maybe tell the guys, you know, when we moved upstairs, you did a bit of a guitar thing, didn't you? We invited people down.
Yes, we did. So when we moved upstairs, we had these regular meetings between all the traders and Chris himself, and we tried to have like a creative meeting. What can we bring that can bring more customers to all of us? And that's the community thing he was talking about. We also share loads of customers of each other. Someone comes up for carries to make a crystal, ends up buying a guitar. Someone comes from a guitar, ends up doing the nails. So it's the community thing really helps everybody as well. When we came in, I did like, with some of my customers, we did like, I don't know what to call it, but we put like the biggest amount of guitar players that we could, playing Smoke on the Water on a shop, and everyone playing at the same time. We only did the main riff, so we could have everyone, the experienced guitar players and the ones who just started. There was some kids Well, I think the youngest was 12-year-old and the oldest was 76. And everyone was together there playing the same riff. So it was really, really cool. And then we shared it on social media.
Purple classic,
Yes, it is. The
Yeah.
Purple classic.
Yeah.
Smoke on the Water.
And you look how featured as well. I noticed like if someone goes to grab something for
Yes,
lunch,
it is.
can you look after them?
That community
It's really warm
is
feeling.
really good. And not just even out of here, when Chris is somewhere else or anyone from there is somewhere else, someone talks about guitars, they will recommend it. And not just that, it happened, obviously, if it was on my own, will be a lot harder. I've been on the Echo before with my picture on it. I'm in here now. This is all the community because obviously Chris working in the background with all these things. All these things end up like promoting my business and making the things easier for all of us.
Good stuff.
Fantastic. I'm just in awe with the story. I think it's a fascinating, sort of almost like a circle sort of life story.
Yes,
it's
it is.
phenomenal, really. I think from everything we've been talking about over the last sort of few weeks as well, do you think then, and this is an open discussion, that people that are looking to start new businesses need to think about their setup, their location in a different mindset now? Because if we revert it back to sort of 20 years ago, shops and a full shop was kind of your only option, or it was the market stall. They were your two. You either take on a full shop, or you have your weekly market stalls that you turn up at. Whereas next door is like a hybrid of the two. It's your own personal shop unit, but it has that community feel of that marketing stall. So do we think then that people that are looking to set up businesses now need to be thinking about it in a different mindset? Instead of going for the full shop, the full frontage, this is mine?
Things are changing, and look, we've had these kinds of spaces, you know, probably for 30, 40 years. You know, I think back to when I first came to Liverpool, you had Quiggins, right? I think the difference with Big Onion is it's that help under the water, you know, so the look is the same. If you come into Big Onion, you look at, and you compare that maybe with Red Brick in Liverpool or Affleck's Palace or something like that, we're pretty similar, right? But it's that support, you know, the traders meetings, the business support stuff that you know, everybody gets involved with. I think the way we work has evolved as well, right? So, you know, Nando mentioned before, previously you worked in like the food industry, Nando, didn't you, right? And that sort of transition from one to the other for quite a lot of people takes a while as well. So they can't sustain a space on their own, okay? And so I think more and more of these spaces you are starting to see now. If you look in Southport, for example, food and beverage businesses there, you've got the market, right? Where you can rent space and you pay a rental based on your turnover, okay? These spaces are becoming more common. Sadly, there's not enough of them though, because you're right, to take on a space on your own, it's not just the rent, as Nando said, it's all the overheads, it's the business rates, it's the utilities, it's the internet, and those kinds of things. So, look, we've got a long way to go, and Sefton has only got quite a small business base. City region, you know, hasn't got as many businesses as it should have for the economy it desires, right? So we need to put more and more effort into supporting businesses just like Nando's, right? And you know, we had some figures out, didn't we, just last week about unemployment, right? Unemployment has gone up again, right? And within certain age bands, I think now it's something like over 16% for the under 24s. It always makes me think, you know, we focus on large businesses, yes, which is great because they create jobs as well. But the micro businesses like Nando, you know, also create a lot of jobs, okay? And if we could support some of those more, I firmly believe by supporting those micro businesses, if they could take on half a full-time post, right, we'd eradicate unemployment.
Absolutely. And I know Nando's got to get back to his business next door, but do you want to tell us about your band very quickly? Do you do gigs, etc.?
Yes, we do. Not as much as I would like to. Sometimes I won't like to anymore. But the thing is, I have a band since I was a teenager with my neighbors and friends. We play thrash metal. And I keep hearing and reading, don't hear it anymore because it's that, but reading that Lemmy from Motorhead used to say, if you think you are too old to rock, then you are. So I'm trying to keep that thought away, and I think this become a thing. I will not quit. I'll keep going, but it start becoming where we play. Most people are younger than us, so but we keep going.
Keep going.
Do it as a part-time and keep going.
That's right, and we're going to do Burnout after the break because Nando's got to go. And I think if you're doing something you love, like I was working on this last night, and on a Sunday night, if you want to do something you don't mind working on a Sunday night if you love it. And I think if you can find that passion, things like Burnout, which we'll cover in a moment, I think we'll have far less of it. Nando, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
He's got to go back next
Thank
door,
you.
have a little break.
Thank you.
One more word. I often see you speaking to a lot of thinkers in Portuguese community.
Uh-huh.
So, give us a little insight into that for a couple of minutes because it is different. You don't see it much until you're standing at your shop, and then you do see, as you said, the Portuguese community, which seems to be local. Is that something which?
Yes, it is. So there is a Portuguese. The Portuguese community in Liverpool is quite small, but people who speak Portuguese is quite bigger because there's lots of Brazilians around here. Some of them who just arrived recently and they struggle to speak the language. So when they hear that there's someone that they can come to talk about guitars or fix a guitar or buy a guitar for themselves and they can speak in Portuguese, they get quite happy to come over. Yeah. And they come over and, like I said before, they end up being my customers and customers of everyone else. Yeah. I think that's like the key, that like the community thing. I think just to finish, I think together we are stronger. And I think we pass through, I think, the best time of our lives as humans, where everyone was making so much money, rents were affordable, but that was the bad side of that. There was, when you have money enough, you don't need anybody. But eventually, we will need somebody. So if we are together, I think it works better for everyone else.
What a way to finish.
Wisdom.
Beautiful little segue there. And well done for that question. Carl, you're going to have to come front to camera soon, mate, to show us how it's done.
You'll have to take that bob hat off, though.
Right,
all right. Thank you very much.
After the break, Nando, thanks very much.
Thanks, Nando.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Nando.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks again. Thank you.
Quality. Quality.
That's your
2-minute break.
microphone in here.
There is.
There is.
Okay, it's right at the very, very bottom. You see a light on.
Welcome to Big Onion Radio, out in the streets at night, just at the base of Strand's house where some great people live. Salt and Tar being renovated there, Strand getting renovated, and here's some beautiful art by Stuart Harrison of the Red Rum Club, and they played here at Salt and Tar, and a big part of it, all funded by Sefton Council. Great to see art in the community and culture in the community too. Come check this out. This is when Status Quo played last year. That was a big, big day, or was it the year before? Tom Jones played as well, but just great to get some big acts and people coming from all over to come and see them. And the amount of money that came in, we spoke to Karen Yates from Salt and Tar, the amount of money that people are bringing into Bootle to spend, and these are people who want to come back again. You know, it really bodes well for the future. And this is Tom Jones, the man from the Rhondda Valley, and he came here and did a gig at Salt and Tar, and it was probably one of the biggest single days in the history of Bootle, I think. Getting Tom Jones here for that weekend. It was a great weekend, and you could hear it from my house, which is a few miles away too. Totally cool. Buses going over the canal there. Remember Chico's Pets, the pet shop that used to be in the little extra bit around the back? The sign's still here. So this must have been the door to take all the pets up. That is a blast from the past. I like all this as well, seeing this like kind of urban gardening. Bring a bit of nature to things. Remember that guerrilla gardening movement where people reclaimed? I like these over here as well. Bit of nature. And this wall extends around there as well. And it's the hexagon. Is it the hexagon or the octagon at the back of the Strand? Hexagon. The Strand used to be rammed all the time and things have changed, but some things change for the better too. The Living Wall by Sefton Council is dedicated to the memory of our very good friend, Councillor Gordon Friel, who served the residents of Lineker Ward for 28 years. I go to nature to be soothed and to have my senses put in order. Good stuff. We're big about getting into nature on Big Onion Radio and bringing nature into the city. So in 1969, this was presented by the United States of America to commemorate its ties with the county borough of Bootle. That was before Sefton was created in the early 70s. And I've never known this before or noticed this before. And that's why in your own town there's all this stuff that we don't always know about. And it's right there, folks, but you've got to look around. This used to just be wide open before it was built over. So all the buses used to just pull in on little like lanes here. And it was dead exposed. And then he put this cover over and put some shops in over the top. Looks a lot better now, doesn't it? Bootle Art Railway Tunnel, but I don't know what it's actually called. Over there at the docks that kept the country going during World War II. We've got the Asda here, Bootle Station right above us with the trains. The Liverpool-Bootle rail link was established in 1850, linking Bootle with Liverpool. Don't forget it only really set up a railway between Manchester and Liverpool 20 years before that, quite early on, and then we had the overhead railway much later. Some good art there. Liverpool rail strike, 1911. Some big strikes in Liverpool through the years. And then 1914, 1918, the Great War, over 1,000 dead from the Bootle area. I think it was something like 14,000 from the wider Liverpool area. And then the Blitz, the May Blitz in 1941, 2,000 people killed. There's a memorial on Ash Street we should check out for Big Onion Radio. 460 killed, 1,886 injured, 502 air raids. So the Strand Shopping Centre opened in 1968. My dad was a builder who helped to build it. It's just 1 minute that way. And Bootle used to have a beach before the docks were built, just like Crosby and Formby. Down here as well, you've got St James School, loads of places in Bootle. And then here, we've got protests. We had something about the rail strike down there. Families Against Pollution, no to PCBs. They were banned in 2001 by some international convention. And it's still an ongoing issue, the amount of pollution in our urban areas and our cities. Margaret Kelly got a silver medal in the swimming in the Moscow Olympics of 1980. The USA didn't go to that one. And then the USSR didn't go to the LA one 4 years later. But I didn't know someone from Bootle won the silver medal in those Olympics. Incredible. Hi, welcome back to part 2. And we've got Super Dan Kirk.
I'm back. I'm back.
And he's now officially part of the team as well.
Yes.
And part of his job description, which he hasn't agreed yet, is to be front of camera a little bit more often. So,
sure.
Welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Good. And he's, marketing, social media expert. We'll be talking all about that later.
We will.
Later on. But first of all, I want to talk about the email. I'm going to get this right because I always get it wrong. It's
going to get it right.
@thebigonion.co.uk.
Yeah.
And thanks to the people who have messaged, including Mel, who's going to be on soon talking about neurodiversity. Please get in contact with us through radio@thebigonion.co.uk if you want to come on, if you want to give us some feedback. Don't forget to please like, share and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. The more you support us, the more we can reach out to more people with this Very, very good message. Speaking of good messages, there's been an awards for all success next door. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, hot off the press. I don't know how hot off the press it'll be by the time this broadcast goes out. But yeah, the Big Onion CIC has been awarded, we think today, some awards for all funding to support some project work in the Big Onion space next door and in Southport. So delighted about that. Just adds another dimension, I dare say, to what goes on there. The details are a little bit sketchy at the moment, so perhaps we might talk about it at a later date. We might even get some of the team on to chat about it if it's that newsworthy. But yes, very happy.
It's a community interest company, which is just below charities.
Yeah, no, so I suppose, without getting into too much detail, yeah, it's a structure used by social enterprises. So the organisation still trades, but it's recognised that it has a social purpose as well as, you know, like a trading and service delivery purpose. And I know a number, you know, Tim, you run a CIC as well. I run another different CIC. So yeah, they are a common structure. They grew out of what used to be called companies limited by guarantee. And the issue with those, say, without going into too much detail, that the old structure, you weren't able to be remunerated if you were a director. And so that caused some problems because people started those kinds of organisations to do good and then found themselves they couldn't be paid for all the time they put in. So CICs allow you to be a director and to be remunerated within your organisation.
Cool. And you've also been at the recent Pride in Place.
Yes, I suppose, you know, big bit of news really. Bootle last year was awarded some Pride in Place funding. So Pride in Place is a massive programme that this current government has introduced. There were over 300 areas across the country that are going to receive £20 million over a 10-year period, so £2 million per year. It's targeted at quite a distinct area. So in Bootle, it's actually called South Bootle, and there is a map which we can put up at a later date that denotes the space. But we had a meeting on Friday, which was chaired by Peter Dowd, the Bootle MP, and there were probably 50 or 60 different organisations represented at this meeting that was held within the town hall in Bootle. And we just spoke, it's very embryonic, just spoke about the programme and how that hopefully is going to be delivered. The difference with Pride in Place programme is it's very community-led. So it's light touch from the establishment, should we say, the local authority. Local authority would be involved in the early days and probably throughout. But the goal is within 3 years that its own organisation is formed to administer the programme. There's a split between revenue programmes and capital programmes, but what can be included within the scheme is to be determined by consultation with local residents and organisations to try to find what works best for Bootle. So it's really exciting.
But we know from what a lot of people are saying is that community spaces, seeing positivity around you, is really important for well-being and people respecting their own times and feeling good. There's also a group, Bootle Action Group, which go around.
Yeah, they were there.
Yeah, Bootle Action.
Yeah, there was a host of organisations there. There was representation from the council as well. I say obviously the MP and his office. So I think the job really over these next few months is to appoint a board, and that essentially will be made up of people who live and work within Bootle. And you know how that comes about is still to be determined. And that group will obviously appoint a chairperson as well. And then from there, then the programme starts to roll. So probably over the next 4 or 5 months, you're going to see and hear more about Pride in Place in this area. There are, outside of Sefton, across the wider city region, I think there are 4 in Liverpool, I'm not sure about the Wirral. I think there's one in Knowlesley and one or two in St Helens as well. So you know, it's a big program, as I say. Over 300 areas have been targeted with this support. So yeah, it's potentially a big opportunity for some transformation and lasting transformation, which would be impactful in the area.
That's great news. Now, we're going to talk about something that we touched on with Nando before. Nando is very passionate about what he does. We know Dan's very passionate about marketing. Lizzie's very passionate about what she does. Podcasting, getting up this morning on a Monday to come in and do this. Yeah. I was well up for it. I was working last night on it, on a Monday night. And if you haven't got a passion for something, that is more onerous and more difficult. And burnout is becoming a word that's being increasingly acknowledged and used, where people feel like you just can't give anymore. Now, you said to me last week, Lizzie, we should talk about burnout, and I actually read an interesting article about it. There's a lot of stuff about burnout that people might not always realise, but I think the idea of burnout, I certainly experienced it as a teacher, and it helped when I went to a new job. So after 5 years, I found going to a new place actually, you know, oh, this is nice, you meet new people, you need something a bit different. But in the end, I felt like teaching after 25 years. I just couldn't give that extra bit. Despite loving many aspects of the job, it was very, very difficult. And I think that doing your own business and doing something you're really passionate about, they have that saying, don't they, you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing what you love. And I think there's a lot of truth on that. Do you want to comment on that, Lizzie? Because this is something of interest to you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I find burnout and like just really interesting in general, because I don't think it's necessarily talked about so much. I think it comes under like lots of different terms where people go off sick or they've got anxiety, or you know, people use just different terminology for it, sometimes just exhaustion. But there are several layers to burnout, you know, that can result in some really quite life-changing sort of conditions, really. So we're not going to go into them completely because we're not GPs, we're not doctors, we're not whatever. This is just to sort of highlight to yourself, really. Sometimes just check in with yourself, because it can creep up and then you can reach that exhaustion limit where, you know, there's a lot of talk, isn't there, at the minute about people sort of silent quitting within jobs because they've reached sort of their maximum, so they're just slowly slinking away and doing the bare minimum to sort of like recoup, re-energize themselves, and sort of you need to reset the nervous system a little bit, and there's so many ways that you can do that. But I was very similar to you. I was a teacher. I stepped out of teaching with every intention of returning. Right. I left my job at the Christmas with me going, well, I'll just take the 2 terms out and I'll be able to reapply and go back into the classroom for September. I have a degree in teaching. Everything was built into, well, that was my job. And I didn't necessarily think that I could go on to do anything else. And I suppose, like you say, it's only when you step out, check in with yourself. I pretty much slept for the whole of that January. I was absolutely exhausted. And if I'd not decided to leave, I would have been in there like every other teacher, back at my job, you know, after that Christmas period where everybody is tired. Parents are tired, children are tired, teachers are tired. Because if you think about the year as a whole, in terms of those teacher holiday breaks and those children holiday breaks, Christmas for most people isn't a holiday break. Parents running around buying gifts, the stress of the season, cooking, seeing relatives that you don't necessarily want to see. You know, the kids are hyper, they stay up later. There's so much within that 2 weeks that actually alters a child's and a family's complete routine. But going back into that school in January, it's a dark month for everybody involved. So I think a lot of the time we just get back on that treadmill, we just do it again, and it's just about checking in with yourself. And I think for a lot of people starting brand new businesses, if I was to compare at the minute, because I'm still fairly new in terms of how long I've been running my own business, I would say I'm currently doing way more hours than what I was teaching.
Yeah.
I just am. There's no real correlation at the minute. Like you say, working on a Sunday evening, I would have loathed that as a teacher. I would have really eaten my soul if I'd had to work on a Sunday night. But yesterday I worked for 4 hours. I loved it, had the TV on, rewatching Game of Thrones, look like tapping away and feel really invigorated for my week. But I also, while we're talking on burnout, is that I don't want that to be long term. I know that at the minute, in order to be successful, I have to put in the hours and I'm happy to do it. But if we're still talking about this sort of 5, 6, 7 years in, it might be a totally different conversation.
Are you watching Game of Thrones while you were working?
Oh, 100%.
See, this is what the youth are like
100%.
today, Dan. I'm sure you're the same, watching...
I'm actually not. to be honest, it's a bit weird. The way I've worked was, so I started 2 businesses which failed miserably previous to the marketing company. And working wise, it's interesting you talk about burnout and all the different types of it, because I would say that I have experienced burnout at times where, because the way I work is hyperfixation. I'm hyperfixation for a very long period. So I might be working for 14 hours straight, stopping briefly for a coffee, a meal, and then going back to my desk working. And it's work. I'll do that for 2-3 months straight. And at the end of it, I'm like, I want to go out. I want to get pissed. Like, I want to go enjoy myself. But at the end of the day, you've got to say no to, for example, your friends or whatnot who are asking you, oh, come do this, come do that, because I haven't had the time for it because my mind's been completely set on work. So I'll be at a laptop for full days. I'll be out in meetings. I'll go to networking events. All of that, it builds up, and then it's that mental strain because you've taken away your social life, and it's that work-life balance which you need to get. Because I'm so young, I don't understand it yet.
The old man. No, go on.
He's got a bus pass now and he's all Mr. Old Man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily about you being young. I think it's about you being young to your business and about you wanting to give everything to it. Because just as you feel as well, and this is where I think a lot of businesses do maybe reach a burnout that they can't always accept or have time to accept, because by the time you've kind of reached that tipping point of burnout, if you've been successful, that's when your trajectory starts to go up. Phone calls start to be converted, there's more business starts to come in, and you go, actually, I've got no time to retire now because everything that I did is now converting, it's being successful. And that's where I think over time you can get into trouble. But yeah, let's hear about the old man wisdom you can teach that we need to know.
I don't know how much wisdom is left. Mobile phones, technology, I think, they don't stop, do they? They don't switch off. And if you're, as lots of younger people are, if you're sort of, welded to your phone or iPad or something or other, there's always an email to look at. There's always a WhatsApp message to respond to and whatnot. So, look, when you run a business, yes, you're never away, right? You're always, I think, thinking about it. Even if you're, laying down on a sun lounge or somewhere, you're thinking about something that you need to just do, send an email, because you can do that from your phone, or can't you, right? So wherever you are in the world, if you're running a business in, a back street in Bootle, you can connect with that, right? So I think that's a factor. You come through waves with this as well, right? I get days where genuinely after 30 odd years, I think to myself, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And that isn't necessarily because of something's gone wrong, right? But it just, we're emotional animals, aren't we? We kind of, some have much more of a peak and trough in terms of roller coaster. I'm pretty, I think, reasonably sort of evenly keeled. But there are days where, you just feel, now whether that's burnout or what, I don't know, right? I don't know, because all these phrases have come after my existence. So all these various sort of terminologies which relate to, individual well-being and this, that, and the other. I don't know. Stress is real, clearly, and it manifests in lots of different ways, doesn't it, right? But I think it's very difficult when you are running a small business, right, as we all are, to sort of give yourself time away from, right? Now, the physical act of doing something on a Sunday afternoon, you guys are in that zone at the minute where I can see the smile on your faces,
I really
right?
enjoyed it.
And you tick something off. I hope you're doing your 1, 3, 5 to-do lists as well, guys, as we've spoken about in Business Club. But yeah, if you're getting a buzz out of it, you know, it's when maybe you're not getting a buzz out of it, it's recognizing and going, right, I'm going for a walk. I'm going to watch some nonsense on the telly or whatever. I'm going to play with my kids or what have you, right? You know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? You know, and so we just need to be mindful about that.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to touch about then, because I think there are certain guilty pleasures that I then now have from having my own business that I couldn't ever have
Guilty
done.
pleasures, yeah.
Couldn't have ever done before. So, for example, say about having some time off. Me and my partner, we had 2 nights away in Liverpool. It's only up the road. We didn't want to go far, but I love a bit of city life, and Liverpool's got so much to offer. And yeah, just two days. So all it needed, and just kind of switched off. Didn't do anything.
And you can manage things if you need to.
Yeah.
If you need to, you can.
You know, as we talked about like the last time, you know, my dad comments on this now quite a lot. So I'm not going to die. I'm touching everything now.
That's the closest thing to wood.
There you go,
right?
There. I'm not going to die. However, if I do die on the way out of here, you won't know for another 3 months, because that's how far ahead of schedule of my social media. So I'll be coming to you from beyond the grave.
Oh gosh.
So certain things.
Yeah, you can plan. Yeah.
Like, I do think we're in a better place than where we were.
I think we'll talk about how we relax as well, because one of the things in this article I read is that you need to factor in relaxation and downtime every day. And I'm much better at this now. And they have a thing in psychiatry called knowing your spoons, which is basically like, if you have a spoon,
I like that saying.
if you have a spoon to do a job, and just say, do you know, I haven't got the spoons for that job today, I'm being totally okay with it, and no one to address it the next day. And actually saying it out loud, I haven't got the spoons for that today. And I think that's good. I actually used it last night when I was going to do a bit more, and I thought, no, I'm going to watch a documentary, and I did this great documentary narrated by Jodie Foster, and thought this is brilliant, about the year 1975 and all the films that were made in that year, Taxi Driver and all that. So,
Switched off.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Went to bed, read a bit of my book, didn't get past the first page, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the definition of burnout is that when you have a prolonged period of, I can't be bothered to do it, and even a little break, you go back and it's like, oh mate, we got that thread straight away, and that's the definition.
Yeah.
And that's where people are disconnected from themselves, from your job, your purpose.
I think something.
Sunday night fear for teachers is the norm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is the norm.
Yeah.
Sunday scaries. All of my feed used to be how to combat Sunday scaries.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter how well rested I was over the weekend. Sunday night, I would have the worst night's sleep, go back into work and
And I dare say other industry sectors have that as well, right?
100%.
It looks like maybe quite a lot of the Everton footballers have that, the pre-match scaries. Now, I was gonna pick up on something you said there, Tim, which Nando alluded to before, that sense of community as well, right? In work, you know, I dare say when you guys were teachers, you know, the conversations that went on in the staff room, right, related to some of these things. And I know now in the community, in the Big Onion and in our business club community as well, we talk about those things, right? And having that support around you, right, I think really does help from time to time.
Community is essential.
Yeah,
Well,
community is
that's why,
essential.
like, for me, leaving teaching was huge, because I'm bonded for life with those sets of teachers.
Yeah.
I struck lucky. I really feel like in terms of my teacher work-life balance, I had the jackpot. All of us were a very similar age. We started our careers all single, no responsibilities. It was wicked. And I think, you know, having that around you on those dark days, you could then go and chat. You were picked up off, you know, not off the floor. We weren't that dramatic, but you know, you were like that. Oh. But yeah, you kind of had that. I do, however, remember, and this is where I think if you're ever in this situation, I'd love to know how people would handle this. I was too young to know what to sort of do. Obviously, it's a joke, and we all laugh about how loud my laughter is. Fair. I was born
No,
with
we
it.
wouldn't do that, Lizzie.
Never.
This is who I am. Okay, I'm a laugh I laugh. I think things are very funny, and I would always describe myself first and foremost as a positive person. When I was saying there about like having colleagues that I got on so well with, we'd laugh every day. I would say that it's one of the main things I do miss in my life is laughter every day. And I was in the staff room, laughing my head off at something that my colleague had said, laugh. I won't be naming any names, but the head teacher at the time walked into the staff room, locked eyes with me, and slammed the door shut. And I was literally there, like, the room went so silent, and I couldn't cope with how silent it was. So the laughter then that just bubbled over, and I thought, you know what, I'll never be able to leave this room again.
So
It was
laughing
laughing at my job.
Do you know
my free well, nothing in teaching is free, but in your free break time, terrible.
Let's move on to the relaxation, but if you find something you're into, it makes it a lot easier. And I just want to say, and you'll probably agree, I loved teaching. I loved that job, but I just couldn't give any more. I couldn't do the reporting, the accountability, the computer, the bureaucracy, the inspections, the book scrutinies. I just couldn't do it anymore. I felt like Big Brother was watching me, and I couldn't do that anymore. And I felt like I crawled out the door the last day of it.
Look what happens, Dan, when you get two ex-teachers in the room. Two ex-teachers in the room. We'll have a podcast. We'll just fill the ranks with ex-teachers.
I think just to finish on it, when teachers do get together, it does monopolise the conversation. But there is something within us that if we thought that we could have made a difference and could have pushed, you'd change it. I applaud every teacher that is out there, from head teacher to executive head, all the way down to teaching assistants. What they are dealing with on a day-to-day basis is utterly phenomenal, and well done for keeping going, because without them, we'd be doomed. We really would be doomed. So move on to relaxation.
Relaxation. So how do we relax?
Before I trot out the Jack Black line.
So, rugby, you like playing rugby?
I
Is that
do
a
like.
release for you?
Yes, it is. It's been one of my only releases for a very long time. I mean, I love the sport. I absolutely love it. I mean, if I've been, whether that be locked in a room or having to go to meetings all week, even when I was in college, I mean, I went to a rugby college, but it was still release. So, I mean, I was never academically that good. Surprise, surprise, even though I'm good with analytics. I was never that academically gifted. So when it came to playing rugby, that was just my release of all the stress of everything going on. And then, as well as that, something I recently got into is reading. Okay. I really enjoy reading.
What do you like reading?
So there's a couple of mainly self-help books, sales books. So, for example, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence Them.
Book, yeah.
Brilliant book.
I watched a TikTok video yesterday. I was going to say that I read it somewhere, and then I remembered that wouldn't fly. I was watching a TikTok video yesterday. And I can't remember the guy's name, but I find him really interesting to listen to, because he shows things from a guy's perspective, which for women, it's quite interesting to find out what you guys are sort of influenced by, what you talk about. And one of the things that he highlighted was the fact that men don't really read fiction.
No.
Well, you know, why?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you read? Because self-help books, I'm not saying that it's don't. I'm just wondering why you wouldn't walk into a shop and pick up a fiction.
I have done, but I don't anymore.
I used to read a lot more fiction when I was younger. As I get older now, I do think that the male mind is a bit more interested in black and white and facts.
Logic.
To generalise. And funnily enough, the best books I've ever written have all been fiction. So I feel like I'm almost denying myself access to a rich source of humanity and just wonder that you get from fiction. But I would agree with that statement.
I agree.
I haven't got time for fiction.
Yeah. And that's not a blanket statement, because I know, again, on Book Talk, on TikTok, there's a huge male section of them reading fiction. I just thought it was an interesting, because my dad wouldn't read fiction books. I wouldn't buy totally a dragon book. Like, I wouldn't do that. So it is an interesting thing.
I'm not a reader, okay? I struggle to sit in one space and read. But yeah, books around, business and different aspects of that. But for me, when I started picking up a book, I still have flags. Flags and then facts about countries. How many people lived there? What the way the government functioned there, you know, what its GDP was and stuff like that. I can remember sort of devouring those kinds of maps of the world, places and things like that. Those are the things that I read. Fiction, I think the only book I think I've ever read from cover to cover, and I can still remember it, was probably when I was in school. I read a book called The Moffats.
Okay.
I remember that book.
Yeah, The Moffats. It was about a family, right? And yeah, I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, I'm not a great reader at all. But I do like certain things which relate to what I like to do. You know, again, rugby, love rugby. So facts and figures about rugby. You know, not that we're going to talk about Welsh rugby at the minute. You know, as he look,
Nearly beat Scotland.
Nearly is a victory for us. We get a point for Nearly. We get a point for Nearly. But yeah, it's downtime is a strange one, isn't it? You know, when you do get away, I found myself on the weekend wandering around an antique and vintage fair, you know, and I like those. And it's that season now. We're coming into that season. I love all that that kind of stuff. But yeah, you've got to have good downtime as well. I mean, you've got to get away from things.
I'm very aggressive with me downtime now. So like I meditate. So yesterday I did 20 minutes meditation. And sometimes you don't even relax during the 20. But I think, right, I've done too much today because I struggled to relax in the 20. It takes discipline to get into meditation. I did it during the lockdown. I exercise every morning. Same before we were on. I do football training on Saturday morning with my lad, rugby training on Sunday morning with my lad, and I get involved.
Yeah, get involved.
And I need that distracts me from everything.
Cool.
It's really, really important.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do we need to have a little break, Carl? Cool.
We'll have a break and go and relax.
We're
Find
done.
your own way to relax, folks. Right, we'll be back shortly.
What are we?
Ding! Hello, we'll be back shortly on Big Onion Radio after these short messages. Don't go away! Big Onion Radio.
Hello, I'm Adele Hollywood, CEO of Unity Lives, a supported living company based in the Northwest. At Unity Lives, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to live with independence, dignity and purpose. Every day, our team supports adults with diagnosis of mental health or learning disability to build confidence, develop life skills and live as independently as possible. We're proud to support people to live their lives their way.
Managed to go to the gym once a week. It helps me with my mental health in that way because you feel really good afterwards, even though your body doesn't. But in the mind, definitely.
The most rewarding part of the day is seeing the service users, seeing the progress. One service user has just started going to the gym, so it's nice to see him out in the community a bit more and getting encouraged by staff members. One of the service users, Luke, he started doing his own washing. He used to smoke in the property, now he knows to sit outside in the smoking shed and stuff like that. So it's nice to see. The other day we put 4 washers on and he's done all his shoes and stuff like that, so he's maintaining himself a bit more and physically looking after himself, as I say, by starting the gym and stuff like that. So it's nice to see him have good progress.
Welcome to part 3 of Big Onion Radio. You do this, Dan?
Oh, I can't do it now.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Hey, do you want to see something? Merseyside. Do you get that?
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Are we
Please.
trying to get viewers or
Please never do that again.
viewers? Yeah.
You can always rely on me to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to do our regular things. Famous Seftonians, Keith Chegwin was born in Bootle.
That's right.
What a great guy. I loved him growing up.
Oh, do you know, Cheggers plays pop. He did. I thought he was great. And do you know, the stuff he did on with Ricky Gervais as well towards the end of his life, honestly, awesome. Awesome. So sad. Taken far too soon. He was a great fella. Great fella.
He made me feel happy when I was.
He did. Yeah,
Janice
likewise.
Long was his sister.
It was. Yeah, I was right. Janice
was
Long
his sister.
was his sister.
And also Cherry Booth, who married Tony Blair,
Yeah.
and who is an English barrister and writer, is from, I think, Crosby.
She is.
Yeah. So she wasn't actually on the main list, I think. So I had to go do another further AI search and all that. But yeah, Cherry Blair, who was married to Tony Blair. I don't like saying that because she was a barrister and writer, which is a very...
Yeah.
She's a person in her own right.
Yeah,
That's right.
she is.
And, just because she was married to Tony
Her
Blair.
dad was an actor as well, wasn't he?
He was indeed.
Tony Booth. That's a voice from the back.
A very famous actor. Right, now I made a mistake last week.
Hey!
There are 18 secondary schools. I got that carried away. That I forgot what was true and what was false. Which, if you're a spy and you're getting interrogated, you've got to believe the lie. And I think I just got carried away.
Yeah.
So it's not 10-9, it's actually 11-8 still.
Yes.
Today. Dan's here to help you. Just
Okay.
counters, haven't you, Dan?
No.
Right, so I did make a mistake last week. Just want to say, nice places to visit in Sefton, as well as Formby Beach and all the beaches. Red Squirrel Reserve. I know they're renovating around there. They want the car park to shuffle. Fisherman's Path. Have you ever walked down Fisherman's Path to the beach through the golf course? Yeah, I think it's closed again at the moment, but when it reopens, it's beautiful. I used to run down there, run past a few famous footballers as well. And say hi, and you go, hi, are you big on your radio? Yeah, mate, I don't know who you are. Right, true or false? The Borough features 9 championship golf courses, including Royal Birkdale, a regular venue for the Open Championship.
So the borough
Contains 9 championship golf courses.
Ooh.
The borough?
So you've got Formby, you've got Birkdale.
Hoylake?
Hoylake is not in the
Never mind.
the borough. Yeah, I've got a geography degree, mate, and you took a wrong turn.
Okay.
Right? I this Freshfield, Fairfield, or
You got...
Ainsdale.
There's 2 in
Ainsdale.
Formby, isn't there?
What did you say? 8?
No.
9.
I think that seems like a lot.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
there's a lot more in Southport. There's a lot more in Southport.
Championship. Yeah.
Oh, championship.
Hey, not mini golf, Dad. Not mini golf.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not pitch and putt.
There's 2 in Southport, almost across the road from each other.
Yeah.
But one of them's a championship course and one of them isn't.
It's what we determine championship.
Well, that's what I mean.
What constitutes championship?
I feel like I'm very uneducated.
PGA championship.
Well, PGA then.
I don't
We're
know.
not talking like Open. Is that higher than championship?
Yeah, that's big time
Right.
golf course. That's Birkdale.
Isn't the championship one with 18 holes that's considered the
So
top
an
golf?
18-hole course.
Determining it.
Well,
I don't know.
I'd argue. Yeah,
Bootle golf course.
Do you know what? I'm going false next.
yeah. I'm going to go with Lizzie.
I think false, but it can't be much less than 9.
Yeah, the 6, it was false.
Get in.
I love it. I'm going to guess and I get it right.
Yeah, it's
feel
6.
like
I
I'm
thought I'd do. I was going to do a sly one like 7 or 8. But I thought no, I'll go.
Yeah,
really
that's
high,
mean.
'cause you can
That's
see
mean.
that, didn't you? Right. Also, Southport houses the British Lawnmower Museum, really one of its kind, and it's got machines that were owned by Prince Charles and Freddie Mercury. Is that true or false?
Well, I know for a fact there is a lawnmower museum. I
Yeah.
know that.
It's
and
the
I
only
know
one in the world. That is true.
That is true. So you're saying...
Prince Charles and Freddie Mercury's lawnmowers are in that museum.
I've got a. Well,
Oh, God.
and you are Miss Southport, by the way, right?
don't.
You are Miss Southport.
No,
So
that is
what?
not true.
You know, what you don't know about Southport isn't worth knowing. So, you know, I'm going with. So I think it's true. There's a lawnmower museum there.
There is one. It's whether
There's-
it's Charles
on
and
there. I just don't know
Freddie
whether
Mercury.
it's those
Well-
two. Because he does have famous ones.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced that they're those two.
I don't think it is those 2. The most famous one I know about in there is some famous bloke's trowel. That I can't remember his name, but a little like spade.
diamond thing.
Yeah, the little diamond
like
thing. There's some
Percy
famous blokes.
Thrower or something like that.
Yeah, like a little
Can I just
trowel.
say, the
that's in
conversations
there,
we
but
have on a Monday morning, lawnmowers and trowels,
I've got
it's
to push you
epic.
for an answer.
Oh, God,
I'm going to say
push
false.
me.
I don't think it's that famous. If
Well-
I'm wrong,
But he's been
congratulations,
on,
mate.
he is on the radio and on BBC, like Merseyside and stuff like that regularly. It's a
Discussing lawnmowers.
Big deal.
Can I have an answer,
The guys
please?
were famous
Come on, we're
stuff.
stalling. Dan's going false. We have to either side with Dan or overrule
You know
Dan.
what? This is pressure.
I'm going some famous lawnmowers.
Oh, now
No,
we're split.
trowels.
We've got a false and a true, and we've
I'm
got.
gonna say famous
I'm happy to
trowels,
take the
lawnmowers. I
majority,
don't know.
2 false, 1 true. If you want to do that.
Well, then,
I'm gonna go then. I'm gonna go true.
Okay.
You say false.
Okay.
Okay, so there's
We
2
even.
true. It's actually false.
Damn it!
It's, however, you do have lawnmowers by Princess Diana and Brian May.
Ah, see,
Oh, okay.
that's
I was
harsh.
so
Okay.
close to saying Princess Diana.
Whose is the
I
trowel?
didn't know.
I'm not sure who the trowel is. Email us on radio.
Who? Lee Max trowel.
Lee Max
I
Trowell.
told you it was someone's trowel.
By the way, we've got a new superstar behind who's just going to research it. Here
Oh,
he
do
is.
you know what?
So it might not
You should have claimed it as your own, mate.
radio@thebigonion.co.uk if you want to tell us some interesting facts. And finally, the UK's smallest pub, the Lakeside Inn in Southport, is officially recognised as the 2nd smallest pub in Britain. Is that true or false?
I really.
It's the smallest pub.
questions. I thought it was the one.
It is the smallest pub.
There's
I'm
one
pretty
in
sure.
North Wales which is smaller.
Is it?
Conwy.
Yeah, down on the front, Conwy. It's smaller, so it's the 2nd.
But what's the region? The UK.
This is the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
It was. I read about that the other day, and I questioned it because it actually looked quite big.
I'll go.
Or is it the smallest house in Conwy? I'm not sure.
I'll trust Chris. I'll trust Chris.
The one with the red
No,
door?
we're not talking about that now. What's the question? Yeah.
The Lakeside Inn in Southport is officially recognised as the 2nd smallest pub in Britain.
True.
Oh, God. Just, yeah.
Go with Chris.
It's false. It is the smallest pub.
I literally said it is.
I want that checking because I think it's not right.
Peer pressure. Put it on your chat GPT.
I know.
Peer pressure. We've had questions on the peer. Is Conwy the smallest house in the UK?
I'm not sure. Oh, it's a house. Okay. Okay.
Folks, send us in some interesting stuff.
This is what happens when you listen to your elders. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to those elders.
Waiting.
Right, we're going to conclude there. Thanks everyone for coming on. Great to see Dan front of camera again. Chris, Lizzie,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Carl,
I'm sorry for letting you do it.
Joel in the background there, right, Joel? Are we out to mention Joel yet?
We've already done it now.
We mentioned it's too late. It's out there.
It's going to be on
It's out there.
Nicky in the back.
Have you figured it out?
Sign a disclaimer.
Is it the smallest or 2nd smallest?
Bombshell's the smallest.
Oh.
Yeah. And the signal boxing.
So it's not even in the first 2. So as you can see, folks, this is live radio.
Right. Okay, well, maybe my info was wrong.
Just go with it. Just say goodbye.
To fact check before every single
I'll
quiz.
check that. Thanks, Joel. Right, listen, look after yourself. Don't forget to find time to relax, spend time with loved ones. I like it as well. Lewis mentioned this.
Yeah.
I make time.
Me too. I did all that. Absolutely.
I think this is how I stop laughing.
Absolutely.
Laughing.
Laughing's good for you. Yeah. Particularly at your true and false. Maybe. Do you remember the Laughing Policeman song? We'll get that played next time.
I remember that. On the count. One. Oh.
No, we're not doing Sesame Street.
Right, folks, catch you later. Relax, laugh, enjoy your life. This isn't a rehearsal.
Will we ever see episode 9? Or are we going to be taken off air?
Right.
Great stuff. Well done, guys. Well done.
So it's the third
Well done.
It's not even.
It's the 73rd.
What's it called?